All right.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on that?
I hope that that's false. I really hope that that's false. Because I don't even think that that could even happen.
Yeah.
Given how much you go over, you re-go over, you go over it again right before the game, as the game is about to realize that you have the wrong wristband.
I start a game, I don't have the right wristband? Yeah. I start a football game, I don't have the right wristband. And we're supposed to be evaluating this? Again, welcome. Everybody who's not a fan of the Browns before the season and you're taking it all in, welcome, because this is par for the course. And constantly getting in your own way. And I'm going to sit here and talk.
That's not even, I'm not going to buy into that.
Yeah.
What is it? Fake news? This is fake news. This is fake news. This better be fake news. Because you hit a person amongst your own team with the old switcheroo.
Oh, man. Oh, the old switcheroo.
But I wouldn't even.
Listen to this. They took a minor wristband mix-up and blew it up into a manufactured scandal. Cam Newton didn't expose Shedeur. What he actually exposed was the hate and the double standard. Hold up. When you really listen to Cam's response, it's obvious he's not taking shots at Shedeur at all. He's reacting like a quarterback who understands just how locked in NFL preparation really is. From his perspective, starting a game with the wrong wristband sounds nearly impossible because of the non-stop checks before kickoff. That's not hate, that's experience speaking. Cam is basically saying, this doesn't line up with what I know about football. And that's important because it shows this conversation isn't about clowning Shedeur's talent or intelligence. It's about questioning how something like this could even happen inside a professional system built with layers of coaches, staff, and safeguards for quarterbacks. Meanwhile, the outside reaction has been way louder and way more dramatic than it ever needed to be. A simple wristband issue is being spun like it's some fatal flaw in Shedeur as a quarterback, and that's unfair. Rookie quarterbacks make small mistakes every season, but most don't get put under this kind of microscope. With Shedeur, everything gets amplified. One detail becomes a headline, and one moment turns into a full character judgment. That's the real issue. This situation says more about how people are watching Shedeur than about the mistake itself. The focus should be on how he's handled pressure, how he's competed, and how he's shown leadership, not on turning one moment into a symbol of failure. Ways. That perspective exists, and it shouldn't be ignored. But hold up, it also shouldn't be turned into a weapon. This isn't proof that Shedeur can't run an offense or that he's somehow not ready for the NFL. It's one moment inside a much bigger season and an even bigger career arc. Cam's comments are rooted in football logic, not disrespect. And once you add real context, the story suddenly feels way less explosive than folks want it to be. At the end of the day, this feels less like a scandal and more like another example of how closely Shedeur is being watched, sometimes way too closely. Now listen, this is exactly what I was talking about. When you actually read what happened, the story looks completely different from how it's being sold online. Stefanski admits there was miscommunication. Shedeur explains it in the most basic way possible. The card fell out on the sideline. That's it. Do not panic. Not confusion, not some mental breakdown, just a physical issue that got fixed quickly. And yes, let's be fair, both sides acknowledged it. So no, you can't fully call it fake news. But when you zoom out, this clearly wasn't some quarterback disaster. This was a small moment that got blown up because people are already waiting for a reason to point fingers at Shedeur. Cam Newton questioned whether something like this should even happen in the NFL. And ironically, that actually supports the point here. If this stuff shouldn't happen, then why does it keep happening around this team? Look at the opening sequence of the game and really be honest with yourself. A 52-yard kick return was allowed immediately. A punt was downed at the 1-yard line. A failed challenge that burns a timeout on the first drive. A false start by a rookie tight end. Too many men on offense, followed by a punt that hands the Bears great field position. That's not a quarterback losing control of the offense. That's a team tripping over itself from the jump. That's dysfunction piling on top of dysfunction before a young quarterback can even breathe. Yet somehow, the loudest conversation is about a wristband instead of the chaos happening all around him. That's exactly what Cam was hinting at without attacking anyone. NFL football is structured, and when the structure breaks, it's rarely just one player. That's why blaming Shedeur doesn't sit right. He handled it calmly, explained it clearly, and moved on. No excuses, no drama. Meanwhile, the offense around him was already off rhythm before the first drive even had a chance. This keeps happening with this team, and every time it does, the rookie quarterback becomes the headline. Not the penalties, not the sideline confusion, not the poor game management, just Shedeur. That's the pattern people need to recognize. This wasn't a scandal, it wasn't proof of incompetence, it was another example of a young quarterback being judged for symptoms of a much bigger problem. And until that gets addressed, this same story's gonna keep repeating.
Gotta pause real quick before we dive in. For the people that don't know, the viewers that don't know, what is the purpose of the wristband? Because all quarterbacks don't wear wristbands. So can you give us the background on the wristband?
Okay, there's multiple avenues or aspects of why a quarterback wears a wristband. I look at Justin Herbert, a person who wears wristbands. I look at, a lot of different quarterbacks, Shedeur being one of them, wearing wristbands. Lamar Jackson, wears wristbands. And it's pretty much dependent on the philosophy of the game plan.
Okay.
Right? Twins right, key left, 695 flash, F-drag sneak, flip it. Right? So instead of having a brain overload situation, naturally on a wristband, they would say twins right. If they tell you to flip it, all you have to do is just say, hey, twins left, key left, 695 flash, F-drag stick. You know what I'm saying? Instead of having a formation into the boundary, now it's to the field.
Okay.
Every coach teaches different. I was under multiple different philosophies while I was in the league. Rod Chazinski did not want us to have a wristband, especially coming from the office that I came from in college. It was look to the sideline. You had boards or signs or whatever, and that didn't necessarily convert to the NFL. All right. Now, I was always of the opponent, make it simple. You know what I'm saying? You can say a paragraph of a play and it don't even work. You know what I'm saying? Or you can say a one-word thing. I mean, you play Madden, all go.
What Cam is really doing here is laying it out plain and simple. Listen to this. He's explaining why wristbands even exist in the first place. And that context matters a lot when we're talking about Shedeur. A wristband isn't a safety blanket and is definitely not proof that a quarterback doesn't know the playbook. It's just a tool. Plenty of elite quarterbacks use them because NFL playbooks are enormous and packed with detail, especially with motion, flips, checks, and situational calls flying in nonstop. The wristband keeps things organized and moving fast so the offense can line up and play without mental clutter. When Cam name drops guys like Herbert, Lamar, and Shedeur in the same sentence, that actually puts Shedeur in elite company. It tells you this is standard at the highest level, not some weird or embarrassing thing people are trying to spin. The real point Cam makes, without outright saying it, is that wristbands come down to coaching philosophy. Some systems want total control from the sideline. Some want quarterbacks barking everything out, and others want simplicity at the line. That means this isn't a solo decision by the quarterback. If Shedeur has a wristband on, it's because that's how the offense is built to run. This is about speed, clarity, and execution, not intelligence. When people act like a wristband issue equals incompetence, they're either clueless about NFL offenses or willfully ignoring reality. Shedeur is operating inside a system that asks him to juggle a lot at once, and the wristband is meant to ease that load, not add to it. That's exactly why turning this moment into some referendum on Shedeur makes zero sense. The wristband is there to make life easier, not harder. And when something that small goes sideways, it doesn't magically wipe out a quarterback's preparation or ability. Cam's explanation actually helps Shedeur's case because it shows how routine this tool really is. If anything, it exposes just how structured NFL offenses are and how when things break down, it's rarely just on the quarterback. Shedeur is doing what he's been asked to do, using what he's been given, and handling it like a pro. The noise around this says way more about the people talking than it does about him.
Type of different things, but I always came from the cloth of, bro, you don't have to say a paragraph for a play to be effective.
And you still hear it in your ear,
You
even though
still
you got
hear
it.
it. And instead of the play being said, the play would say, hey, wristband 138. Hey, wristband 56. And then you go straight to wristband 56. The coordinator, the position coaches, they already know what it is. And then, you know, as it comes in the headset, it will say, hey, wristband 52. All right, you got twins right, key left, 695 flat, chef drag seat. Hey, we're going Peggy personnel here. You got, you know, third, and everything that we've already had mentioned, what comes in through an average, you know, play calling, 40-second play clock. But all those things, man, it just comes down to the offensive play call.
Cheat sheet, so to speak.
Correct. You have all these things that information at your disposal, personnel, protection, down and distance, and defensive tendencies as well too. So,
Listen to this. What Cam is really breaking down is how modern NFL offenses truly operate. And once you grasp that, the entire wristband debate flips on his head. Play calls aren't just a quick phrase shouted into a helmet. They're layered with personnel groupings, protection schemes, down and distance logic, tendencies, and situational checks. The wristband is just a quick reference, so the quarterback doesn't have to recite a full paragraph before every snap. When a coach calls out a number, everyone already knows exactly what that code unlocks. It's about pace and structure. So when people act like Shedeur using a wristband means he doesn't know the offense, they're completely missing the plot. This is literally how pro football is built, especially in systems that demand heavy mental processing from the quarterback. What gets drowned out in all this noise is that Shedeur isn't playing on an island by himself. He's hearing the headset, reading coverages, managing the play clock, and lining up teammates who might already be slipping up before the snap. The wristband is there to smooth that workflow, not to save a quarterback who's lost. Cam is really just spelling out the reality that quarterbacks are juggling a ton at the same time. And when one small tool becomes the headline, it distracts from how the game is actually unfolding. Shedeur isn't overcomplicating anything. He's executing inside a system that's already heavy by design. The fact that such a tiny moment turns into a massive storyline tells you how unfair the spotlight on him has been. This is exactly where the conversation needs to shift, because the bigger issue isn't Shedeur's wristband, it's the environment around him that's been built by Stefanski. Why does this offense look disjointed right out of the gate? Why are penalties, miscommunication, and slow starts a recurring theme? And hold up, why isn't the system being simplified to help a young quarterback settle in early? That responsibility doesn't land on Shedeur. That lands squarely on the head coach. If your quarterback needs clarity, rhythm, and structure, it's your job to deliver it. Instead of nitpicking Shedeur over a tool every quarterback uses, the real question is why Stefanski hasn't built an offense that shields his QB and lets him play loose. That's the discussion people should actually be having. So when you really break this down, this was never a scandal. It was a minor detail blown up while much bigger problems got ignored. Shedeur handled it like a professional, and the wristband chatter says far more about the system than the quarterback. If you're rocking with real football breakdowns, make sure you like and subscribe. What do you think about the wristband situation? Is this just normal NFL stuff, or another unfair narrative piling on to Shedeur?